Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing my Raptors video. So 2019 NBA Finals prediction slash preview video for the Raptors and the Golden State Warriors. So as normal, I'm just going to do like normal like preview, like round 3 for both teams, round 1 and 2, and also like that. So we're going to start with round 3 because that's like the most like recent round, obviously. So Toronto came back against the Bucks after being down 2-0, and everyone counted them out saying Bucks in 4. And the Raptors won 4 straight. And once they won the third, it was already their best season yet, and they just capped it off with the fourth win to make it to the NBA Finals. It was really it was actually really I lost hope at 0-2, not gonna lie, but they proved me wrong and they won 4 straight. Like I was even saying to my friend, like they're not gonna win 4 straight, and what did they do? They won 4 straight. So for the first time they win for the first time they win the Eastern Conference Final, and now they're going to the NBA Finals for the very first time. So they won in 6 after being down 0-2, which is obviously really good. For Golden State, they swept the Houston Rockets fairly easily from what I saw. Some games were closer, but in the end result, they still swept them in 4 games. For rounds 1 and 2, round 1, Golden State won in 6 games against the Clippers. Round 2, Golden State won in 6 games as well against the Rockets, and then obviously round 3 in 4 games. Rounds 1 for Toronto won in 5 games against the Magic after losing game 1, so they won 4 straight. Round 2, Toronto won in 7 games. The game 7 was a thriller where Kawhi won on a buzzer beater. So now going into the series schedule. So game 1 is going to be Thursday, May 30th in Toronto at 9 p.m. Game 2, Sunday, June 2nd in Toronto at 8 p.m. Game 3 is going to be in Golden State, Wednesday, June 5th at 9. Game 4, Friday, June 7th at Golden State at 9. Game 5, Monday, June 10th in Toronto at 9 if necessary. Game 7, Thursday, June 13th in Golden State at 9 p.m. if necessary. And Game 7 will be in Toronto, Sunday, June 16th if there is one. So if necessary, at 8 p.m. So recapping the season series. So Toronto did win the season series 2-0. But does that mean anything now? No. So the first meeting was November 29th, where the Raptors won 131-128 in overtime in Toronto. So that was a high-scoring game. In a game that Stephen Curry, Draymond Green, and DeMarcus Cousins did not play in the Raptors prevailed behind 37 points from Kawhi Leonard. Pascal Siakam added 26, including 7 of Toronto's 12 points in the overtime period. Kevin Durant was sensational, scoring 51 points, including a pair of 3-pointers in the final minutes to erase a 6-point deficit. So obviously Durant is a big thing, but I'm going to get into that. He's actually out right now, so the second meeting, the Raptors also won December 12th in Golden State, 113-93, so they won by 20, which is kind of surprising. Winning by 20 in Golden State, that's really surprising actually. The Raptors picked up perhaps their biggest win of the season and did it without Kawhi Leonard, winning by 20 at Oracle Arena behind 23 points and 12 assists from Kyle Lowry. And the fact they won without Kyle Lowry is really good. In Golden State by 20, that's really good. The Warriors had almost their full complement of players as Durant, Curry, Green, and Klay Thompson all played down. I don't know how to say his name. Andre Iguodala did not play while DeMarcus Cousins had yet to make his debut for the Warriors. The Raptors were in control early in this one as they led 57-41 entering the half and never looked back. So obviously getting into the key questions and storylines, the health of Kevin Durant. So will he return? And obviously if he does, when is that going to be, right? So his absence has cast a shadow over Golden State's entire playoff run. Prior to his injury in the third quarter of Game 5 against the Houston Rockets in the second round, Durant was the leading scorer in the playoffs and according to both his coach and teammates, playing the best basketball of his career. Since his injury, the Warriors have not lost, first pulling out that Game 5 with a gutsy fourth quarter, and then rattling off 5 straight wins to finish off Houston and sweep the Portland Trailblazers. Throw in his impending free agency this summer, and an already fascinating dynamic has become incredibly more complicated over the last few weeks. So the next one will be, can Kawhi Leonard keep this up? That'll be a main factor because obviously he has been a lot, he's been getting 30 points per game, so obviously he'll be really important too. So he's doing basically absolutely everything, between guarding the other team's best player, carrying Toronto's offense, and hitting clutch shots time and time again. Leonard is carrying a two-way load that no one else is coming remotely close to. He's also doing it while playing through an apparent leg injury sustained in Game 3 of the double overtime win against the Bucks, in which he played a career-high 52 minutes. How much more in the tank does he have? That'll be the main question, especially for, for the Raptors' hope in the finals. And then number 2 or number 3 will be, can Pascal Siakam match Draymond Green? So simply put, Draymond Green has been awesome over the last 2 months. He's flying around at 1,000,000 miles per hour on defense while attacking downhill in transition with relentless intensity. More than anyone else, Green is the heart and soul of the Warriors. Siakam may not be the heart and soul of the Raptors, a title that belongs to Kyle Lowry, but he can impact the game in similar ways to Green. At his best, Siakam is a highly frenetic defender that can challenge shots and push 94 feet off of defensive rebounds. It might be asking too much of Siakam to match this version of Green. It also might be critical towards the Raptors making it a series. So another main question is going to be who the hell guards Stephen Curry. Curry presents an interesting challenge for the Raptors. Given the manner in which he's always moving, both in the half court and on the secondary break, he might be the only volume scorer in the entire league. That's not a good matchup for Kawhi Leonard. If it's Kyle Lowry, that's asking quite a lot from the 33-year-old who is coming off a series in which he essentially got to ignore Eric Bledsoe. There aren't many more disparate matchups. Disparate, that's what it says. Disparate matchups than going from Bledsoe to Curry. In the one game Curry played in against the Raptors earlier this season, it was Fred VanVleet who drew the vast majority of the possessions. Curry hunts mismatches on pick and rolls far more than anyone on Milwaukee, which presents another interesting wrinkle that promises to demand a different kind of effort from Toronto's bigs. So going into the historical implications for Golden State. In reaching a fifth straight finals appearance, the Warriors have achieved something done only once in NBA history over 50 years ago by Bill Russell's Celtics in a league that had fewer than a third of the teams as it does now. A fourth title in 5 years pushes the Warriors further into the conversation for the greatest team ever. Stephen Curry could finally win his first Finals MVP award that so far has proven elusive. Draymond Green and Klay Thompson can further enhance their Hall of Fame credentials. Does Andre Iguodala start to generate a Springfield buzz of his own? Well, what would a fourth title mean for Steve Kerr, who has also won 5 as a player? So going into some X factors, the biggest one, so Marc Gasol's passing and instincts. Gasol was still a member of the Memphis Grizzlies when the Raptors and Warriors played way back in November and December. He did play 2 games against the champs this season while with Memphis, racking up 7.55 assists per game. I'm going to close that. As good as the Warriors are, they do have a reputation for losing focus on both ends. Gasol is an amazing passer and sees the game well enough to pick apart a lackadaisical effort or miscommunicate. I've never heard that word in my life. His smarts and hoops IQ on both ends could work wonders against a team that has had a penchant for beating itself. Andre Iguodala, whatever the hell his name is, D on Kawhi Leonard. But just as Leonard did in 2014, Andre won a Finals MVP for shutting down LeBron James and swinging a series. He worked relentlessly throughout the Rockets and Blazers series and missed Golden State's Finals clinching win against the Blazers. Andre is expected to return for Game 1 and has the size, speed, and smarts to give Leonard fits. So another key thing will be the shooting of Danny Green and Norman Powell. The Warriors have a ton of firepower, while the same could be said of the Milwaukee Bucks entering the last series. The Warriors are a different animal with a track record that speaks for itself. If the Raptors are going to hang with Golden State, they'll likely need consistent contributions from both Danny Green and Norman Powell. Though Green has struggled throughout this postseason, there's evidence that he can heat up on the stage as he hit a then record 27 3-pointers in the 2013 NBA Finals for the Spurs. Powell provides a level of explosiveness off the bench unmatched by anyone else on the roster, and as we saw in the Game 4 win against Milwaukee, when he took 18 shots, he's not afraid to let it fly. To beat the Warriors requires a certain degree of confidence and a willingness to take big shots. Powell could be that guy for the Raptors. And another big thing will be the return of DeMarcus Cousins. Kevin Durant isn't the only hobbled star that could return in this series. Cousins hasn't played since tearing his quad in Game 2 of the first round against the Clippers, but is practicing and could return in this series. Even if only for a few minutes, Cousins provides a much different challenge on the block for Toronto's bigs than either Draymond Green or Kevin Looney. There's no telling what type of immediate impact he'd have upon returning, but the very fact that it's on the table presents yet one additional wrinkle to a series already ripe with subplots and storylines. So basically, if he returned, that'll just be a bonus because they're already so effing good, you know what I mean? So just some quick stats to know. The Warriors have won 5 straight since Durant exited the lineup with a calf injury. They've beaten opponents by 8.6 per game, 8.6 points per game during that time frame. Curry has also taken his game to another level with Durant sidelined. He's averaging 35.8 points and shooting 41.7% from three-point range in the Warriors' last 5 victories. So guys, now I'm just going to go into like a bit more stats. So just some like general notes for the Raptors. So they have reached the finals for the first time in franchise history, and they are the 4th of 8 franchises that joined the NBA after the 1976 expansion to reach the finals, joining the Dallas Mavericks, Miami Heat, and Orlando Magic. They have played in 2 of the 3 slowest paced games of the postseason. Their Game 6 win versus Milwaukee, 87 possessions per team, was the slowest. Number 3, they have grabbed only 48% of available rebounds, the lowest rate among teams that advanced out of the first round. Yeah, that's another key thing. Rebounds will be key. In Milwaukee, it was key. They were able to win after being down 0-2, so they definitely cannot do this against Golden State. They have to get rebounds. They have been the second best home team in the playoffs. They have outscored their opponents by 12.4 points per 100 possessions as they've gone 8-2 at Scotiabank Arena, which is going to be really important because they have home court and they do need to take advantage of home court. They're 9-1 after leading by double digits. The one loss was Game 1 in Milwaukee, and 2-5 after trailing by double digits. Some postseason notes for offense. They're 10-0 when they've scored at least 104 points per 100 possessions and 2-6 otherwise. They're 18.1% of their possessions, the second highest rate in the postseason, have been in transition. According to Synergy Play Tape Track, whatever, but 21% of their shots, also the second highest rate, have come in the last 6 seconds of the shot clock, according to Second Spectrum tracking. So it's like they kind of have to. I mean, it's good if they kill the clock, I guess, if they're up and it's late in the quarter. But like you have to try to get your shots faster, and it's not going to be any easier against Golden State. I'm telling you that right now. They rank 5th in the playoffs in ball movement, 327 passes per 24 minutes of possessions, and 12th in ball movement and player movement, 10.8 miles traveled per 24 minutes of possession. They rank 3rd with 3.7 secondary assists per game. They rank 5th in both 3-point percentage, 34.5%, and the percentage of their shots that have come from 3-point range, 40%, 40.6% in the playoffs. If the finals were to go at least 5 games, they're on pace to break the 2016 Warriors postseason record of 306 total 3-pointers made. They have attempted 29.6 catch and shoot jumpers per game, second most in the playoffs. Their effective field goal percentage on those jumpers, 50.7%, ranks 9th. They rank 2nd in free throw percentage, 81.8%, right behind the Warriors, 81.9%, just 0.1% less, though both teams have been outscored at the free throw line over the course of the postseason. And number 7, they have scored a postseason best 1.20 points per possession on handoffs, though they've averaged only 3.3 handoff possessions per game, second fewest in the postseason. So going into some Raptors defensive notes, they have been the most improved defensive team in the playoffs, having allowed 4.4 fewer points per 100 possessions than they did in the regular season, so they have been a lot better in the playoffs. They have held each of their 3 opponents to at least 7 fewer points per 100 possessions than they scored in the regular season. They have seen the biggest drop in opponent effective field goal percentage from the regular season, 50.9%, 4th in the league to the playoffs, 48%, which is 2nd. But they've seen the biggest increase in opponent free throw rate from 29.4% to from 24.9 to 30 attempts per 100 shots from the field. They rank 2nd in the opponent's effective field goal range percentage on shots from outside the paint, 44.5%. They rank 3rd in opponent 3-point range, 31.3%. All 3 of their opponents ranked in the top 15 in 3-point percentage in the regular season. They have held Milwaukee to fewer transition points over 6 games, 162. Than the Bucks scored in 5 games versus Boston, 169. Only 5.5% of opponent possessions, the lowest rate among defenses that advance out of the first round, have been isolations. Have allowed just 0.73 points per possession, the lowest rate in the playoffs on isolations. They lead the postseason with 14.4 deflections per game, and only 15.3% of opponent possessions, the lowest rate among defenses. Did I already read that? I just read that. Okay, so now going into Golden State, just notes in general. So they're the first team to reach the finals in 5 straight years since 1966. when the league had just 9 teams. That's actually freaking insane. Who messaged me? They've outscored their playoff opponents by 6.2 points per 100 possessions, their worst mark through the first 3 rounds over these last 5 years. The previous low was plus minus 6.4 in 2016. They have been the best road team in the playoffs. That's not good because Toronto's at home, so that's not the greatest. Having outscored their opponents by 7.4 points per 100 possessions, as they've gone 6-2 on the road. That's insane. Toronto is 8-2 at home, and they're 6-2 on the road. This should be a hell of a series, but I do think the Warriors will take it. Not easily, but they should be able to take it. Like, not that difficult. So number 4, the best first quarter team in the playoffs, having outscored their opponents by 19.7 points per game per 100 possessions in the opening period. Well, quarter, not periods, no periods. But that breaks down to plus minus 31.6 in the first round, plus minus 21.5 in the conference semis, and minus 1.3 in the conference finals. 10 of their 16 games, most in the playoffs, have been within 5 points in the last 5 minutes. That's almost as many as they had in the last 2 postseasons combined, 11. They're 8-1 after leading by double digits. The one loss was Game 2 versus the Clippers, which they led by 31 points. Holy shit. Wait, so they lost after leading by 31? Holy crap. And 4-3 after trailing by double digits, including 3-2 after trailing by at least 15 points. So going into some offensive notes for the Warriors, they were the best offensive team in the regular season and have been the most improved offensive team in the playoffs, having scored 1.5 more points per 100 possessions than they did in the regular season. They have taken only 40% of their shots in the paint, the lowest rate in the postseason, but they lead the playoffs in both field goal percentage in the paint, 63.4%, and 3-point percentage, which is 37.0%. They average 19.7 minutes of possession per game, 15th in the playoffs. They rank last in both average seconds per touch, 2.74, and average dribbles per touch, 1.94. They have assisted on 66.7% of their field goals, the highest rate in the playoffs. They rank first in the playoffs in ball movement, 372 passes per 24 minutes of possessions, and 5th in player movement, 11.3 miles traveled per 24 minutes of possession. They have 8 games with 30 or more points, 30 more assists. All other teams have 9 total. They lead the postseason with 5.3 secondary assists per game. Number 5, they have scored 1.12 points per possession on pick and roll ball handler possessions, the postseason's best mark. They rank last with just 26.9 drives per game, but have shot a postseason best 53% on drives, which is obviously really good. And they lead the postseason with 15.6 post-ups per game, have passed out of post-ups 53.6% of the time, the highest rate among teams that advance out of the first round. And now going into some defensive notes. So in regard to the points per 100 possessions they've allowed versus the opponent's regular season average, they've improved defensively with each round. So they've improved defensively each round. They're 11-0 when they've allowed fewer than 115 points per 100 possessions and 1-4 otherwise. So if Toronto scores like 115 points every game, maybe it would be good. but their defense has been getting better, so this will be a really tough series. Not even gonna like sugarcoat it. It'll be tough. Number 3, they have allowed their opponents to take only 26% of their shots in the restricted area. That's the 3rd lowest opponent rate in the playoffs, and the lowest among the 8 teams that advanced out of the first round. Only Indiana and San Antonio had lower opponent rates. 43% of their opponents' shots have come from 3-point range. That's the 2nd highest opponent rate in the playoffs, but only 16% of their opponents' 3-point attempts have come from the corners. That's the lowest opponent rate in the playoffs. And last but not least, they rank 3rd with 13.3 deflections per game. So I'm going to end the actual preview video there. As for prediction, I do think that the Raptors will lose this series. I did kind of say that for round 3 as well. They can win. It's just going to be really, really difficult because like they're going to have to play like really good defensively. Like they're basically going to have to win. They have to win game 1 or 2. If they go to Golden State down 0-2, I don't care. I don't care if they came back against Milwaukee. That's Milwaukee. This is Golden State. They're not going to come back down 0-2. And if they do, well then shit. But they're not going to. They're just not going to. It's not going to happen. So they have to win game 1 or 2, and then they'll be tied 1-1 most likely after winning one of the home games. Because if they win one, they'll probably lose the other one, so it'll be 1-1 going to Golden State. And they have to split in Golden State as well. They have to come back home 2-2. They have to go to Game 5 2-2, assuming it goes to a Game 5. But I mean, maybe the Raptors will surprise us. Maybe they'll win both games 1 and 2. And if they do, that'll make me really confident. But I feel like Golden State would win both games at home. But then at least the Raptors would still be tied 2-2 going back home, and then they still have home court. So if it goes to a Game 7, they do have. Can you guys imagine a Toronto Raptors game at home in the NBA Finals against Golden State Game 7? Holy effing shit, that'll be insane. Oh my god, that would actually be insane. But anyway, congratulations for the Raptors for even making it here after probably being told they're not going to make it after being down 0-2. For Golden State, it's like their 5th appearance in a row, so this is insane. I don't know if they, I don't follow the NBA too closely, especially when the Raptors are out, so I don't know if the Warriors had won all the other ones, but yeah, so it'll be a really tough series, but they will be able to do it if they can just pass the ball, if they get rebounds, if they do everything that they need to do, they'll be okay. And I really hope this goes at least like 5-6 games, hopefully the full 7, because that'll be freaking lit, and anything can happen in Game 7. So thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know in the comments what you guys think of this series, who will win in how many games. I'm going to say Warriors in 6, just because I think that's what everyone's been saying, plus that does seem like a pretty good thingy. So that's basically everything. So I'll see you guys in it, or if the Raptors somehow win, then I'll go on to do a video about that. If they lose, then I'll probably do a video on that, but let's see what happens. Game 1 in 2 days. Let's see if the Raptors can win Game 1, and then we'll see what's going on from there. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace out.